Hi, my name is Stephanie and I'm a big fan of all things music, movies and pop culture, and today I want to go through all of the movies that I watched in August. In the month of August, I watched 13 movies all up, which is the same amount of movies that I've watched in the last few months, which is crazy. I don't do it on purpose. I find that I'm trying to watch as many movies as I possibly can despite being extremely busy, and I'm also trying to give my full focus to movies when I watch them rather than being distracted and going on my phone and doing all of that, because it's very easy done. And I believe that, movies need to be given, some level of respect. And obviously it's so easy to just get distracted these days. And I'm just trying to go back to the way I was when I would just sit down and watch a movie and just let it happen and be fully engaged in what's going on. With that said, I did try, and 13 I think is a pretty good number at this point, and it's extremely consistent by accident. So according to my list as well, I watched 13 movies and 5 of them I had not seen before, and I saw one movie in the cinema this month. There are so many movies coming out and that have come out, and I'm trying to catch up, and I will catch up. Lucky for me, I feel very dedicated to having my movie library as well, so anything that I do miss in cinema, I'm more than happy to buy on DVD when the physical release comes out. So there's that as well. And with that said, here's a stack of some of the movies that I watched in August in physical form. So the first movie that I watched in August was Beetlejuice, which is from 2024, and it is directed by Tim Burton, and it is obviously the sequel to the original movie Beetlejuice from the late 80s. As far as sequels go for classic 80s movies and movies that kind of have a life outside of just being a movie, I'm oftentimes skeptical when it comes to that, because you don't know how it's going to go down. There are some really successful ones, and ones that you might revisit, and they if it's comedy, it might make you laugh, and in that way it's good. But obviously as well, when certain IP is being touched and it means a lot to people, and it's a cult movie and has a massive cult following, and people love Tim Burton's work as well, in general, to touch something like Beetlejuice is oftentimes a scary thought. With that said as well, I was again very skeptical, but at the same time I trust in this filmmaker and I trust in these actors as well. We've got Catherine O'Hara, Winona Ryder and Michael Keaton, to name a few, that are reprising their roles from the original movie. All of this to say, I really enjoyed Beetlejuice. I thought it was really funny. I thought it was campy. I thought it had good callbacks to the original film, whilst also feeling modern in a way that worked, rather than it feeling completely different. It definitely had that connection to the original film in a good way. And it's a movie now that I'm I would rewatch it, and I would enjoy it as I rewatched it. I also really enjoyed the needle drops in this movie. I was just thinking about it right now, and I really enjoyed how Tragedy by the Bee Gees was used, and MacArthur Park was used throughout the movie. I thought those sequences were really cool and really fun. Yeah, this is a movie that can easily be rewatched in October during spooky season. Number 2 on my list is On Swift Horses, which is a film that I saw in the cinema. I don't have too much to say about this movie. I did enjoy it. I thought that it was really interesting. I enjoyed the performances and I thought it was pretty. I really enjoyed the concept of the movie, and it's actually a really sad movie and sad situations occur and stuff. But I enjoyed as well the settings of it, the old casino and even the motel rooms and stuff like that. I just thought those were really pretty, and the cast of this movie was really good too. I'm a fan of all of these actors. I had actors Jacob Elordi, Daisy Edgar Jones, Diego Calva, Will Poulter was in it. I really enjoyed all of their performances, and it was fun to see all of them in a movie together. Number 3 is Living It Up from 1954. This is a musical comedy that I've grown up with ever since I was a kid. I have seen this movie a countless amount of times at this point, and every time. I enjoy it. I love Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin, and I love their work together. I've seen so many of their movies because it was something that I grew up on, and even now, like, because they did so many movies together, there's so much that I feel like I have to catch up on, because I've seen, you know, movies like Sailor Beware and Partners and The Caddy and things like that, and obviously this one's like my favorite. But I'm such a massive fan of Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin as individuals, but then when they're together it just works so well. And to me now, they're extremely underrated. I would love to just like lecture people about how these two like changed entertainment, whether it's like through singing, acting, comedy, directing, just there's just so many things. But like if we did like a massive deep dive, which I would love to do, on like the work of these two, it'd be so interesting to see their impact. And in terms of like old Hollywood, like this is the stuff that I'm drawn to. I feel like there's so much I need to catch up on, but at the same time I'm like, I feel like I need to get everyone to watch this movie and see how fun it is and how underrated it is. It feels like my life's mission at this point. Number 4 is Boomerang. This is an Eddie Murphy movie. I'd say it's like a rom-com, like more than just like straight up comedy. And I really loved this movie. I had not seen it before. I'm a massive Eddie Murphy fan, and I love, you know, his comedy specials like Raw and Delirious. They're pieces of work that I've grown up on, and same goes with like so many Eddie Murphy movies like The Nutty Professor and Beverly Hills Cop and a million other ones, Trading Places, 48 Hours. All of those movies are, you know, part of me. But this is one of those situations where I bought the movie and was like, yay, it's time to watch that and keep going through Eddie Murphy's filmography, I guess. And the thing is, Eddie Murphy is obviously an Oscar nominated actor as well. Like, he is so great at comedy, that's an understatement, but his work as like a dramatic actor and the moments in this movie that require that are done so well, and I just admire him and his work so much. And I think this is an underrated movie considering how good it was and how enjoyable it was and how funny it was. All right, number 5 is a movie that I've seen many times. It used to be a movie that I would put on like late at night when I just didn't want to think and I just really wanted to watch and listen, and it was like all good. So I've seen it a million times, and this time that I watched it as well, it was put on in the background and I was just like letting it happen. And that movie is Frankie and Johnny, and that is from 1991. This to me is another underrated movie from the 90s. It's directed by Gary Marshall, who did films like Pretty Woman and The Princess Diaries, and this movie stars Al Pacino and Michelle Pfeiffer, which obviously for those who know, they both starred in Scarface together as well, and it just makes me laugh because this is my favorite out of those two movies. I love this movie and seeing these two actors together. It is like a rom-com. It's very fun. It's a very cozy movie, but it has a lot of darkness to it, which I was always drawn to when I first watched it. And when I was making my way through Al Pacino's filmography a few years ago, I loved the darkness that Michelle Pfeiffer's character has with her, and it's one of those things where sometimes you don't get that in a rom-com because you don't want to like get too deep and it not become like enjoyable at all. That's not to say that rom-coms don't have deep issues explored, we know they do, but there's something so like devastating about this character and something that makes you feel kind of seen within that as well. So yes, Frankie and Johnny. Number 6 is another classic. That's an understatement, and it's one I've seen a million times as well, and that's 101 Dalmatians, the Disney film. I put this on in the background as well at the time when I watched it, but when I was watching it, I just couldn't help but admire the artistry in this film, and especially early Disney. A few years ago, I was like watching documentaries about Walt Disney and about the creation of these like early Disney films, and you get to see how these animators are working and how crazy like it is that these movies exist, and how lucky we are as like people who watch and consume art, how cool it is to see and how far we've come in terms of like technology and stuff, but also just how stunning and handmade and beautiful these early Disney movies are. Number 7 is another movie I've seen a million times, and it is hilarious every time, and that is The Hangover. I hadn't watched it in a little while, but I've been talking with people a lot about Las Vegas and gambling and casinos and things like that, and so it's just been like on my mind, and I obviously wanted to laugh, so this was a movie that like needed to be revisited, and once again it was enjoyed and I laughed all the way through it. It really doesn't get old. This movie I think is like 15 years old at this point, and I think it's safe to say it's like a comedy classic. I don't think I'm the first to say that, and I don't think I'll be the last. It's cool to see how people quote it and how iconic it is, and you could mention like any scene from it and people know exactly what you're talking about, and it's just so fun, and the crude humor of it all is just one of those movies where it just like never gets old. It's just so fun. Number 8, again, another rewatch, one of my comfort movies and one that makes me laugh all the time, and that is the first American Pie. I love American Pie. It's a series of movies that I found not that long ago compared to other movies that have become staples for me. In terms of like, I think I first watched American Pie maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and at least the first 2 have become like 2 of my like go-to movies that I know are gonna make me laugh, I know are gonna cheer me up, I know are gonna like bring me to a place that is like happy and joyous. And what I also love about the American Pie films is that within like anything that is, you know, too much or it might come across a certain way, the guys are always the butt of the joke, but there's also just so much heart in it, and the friendship and all of that, to me, it works so well. It doesn't feel laced with like disrespect or things like that. To me, it feels just like funny and all of that, especially because the guys are the butt of the joke, and that's fun and it works so well. I've also only seen these 4 films in the American Pie series, and there are just like so many, but I think like these are the only 4 with the original 4. So for now, I'll just like stick to that, especially rewatching the first 2. Number 9 is 54 from 1998. I was like having a moment the other week where I just wanted to watch like party movies, and so I had to watch this. I've had this sitting on my shelf for like 3 years at this point, and this cast is pretty stacked, full of like 90s actors and people that are like super cool. The soundtrack of this film was, I think, my favorite bit, apart from like the bright lights and the visuals and the whole like recreation of like Studio 54. I loved the needle drops. Like, it was so fun and it made me want to like be there. Looks so cool. This is like the sort of movie I feel like would be fun to watch as like a double feature with like Boogie Nights. This also, I think, would fall into my category of like movies that I would put on in the background, have muted. I wouldn't want to mute this one because the needle drops are too good, but like have muted because it's like pretty enough to be like bright. Also, I'd probably like pair it up with Showgirls as well. I love Showgirls. It kind of reminded me of Showgirls in a way. Number 10 was Party Girl from 1995, which is a film starring Parker Posey, and a film that made me feel pretty seen and made me want to throw parties all the time. Her outfits in this film are so fun, and I love this genre of women in their 20s figuring out their stuff and kind of being a bit all over the place and messy, but that's like part of the experience, and it makes me feel better about my life, and it makes other women feel better, and it should make people feel like excited in knowing that life is like a movie and we can have fun and we can do things, and it doesn't have to be so dark and serious, and we can kind of just like float around and have fun. And I don't know, that's what I was kind of getting from the movie. It kind of like goes back to that thing for me of like the idea of romanticizing life and like having fun and just trying to enjoy yourself and have your friends around you, and music and parties and just, I guess, celebration. And again, when things get tough or dark, like you can just let it happen and things will all work out like they do in Party Girl. Number 11 is The Princess Diaries from 2001. Again, a movie that I have in my DNA. I've seen it a million times. I'll watch it a million more times. I love how stunning this movie is. I'm a massive fan of Anne Hathaway. Again, this is a Gary Marshall film, and all of his films have, like, to me, like a touch of magic and this way of making you feel so seen. And what was crazy to me is that I've probably related to this film the most this time watching it around compared to any other time that I've watched it, which is, again, like a million times, no exaggeration. I love these two movies so much, and I'm like extremely protective of them because I think that they, again, have that touch of magic to them that is like so special. And I think like the pacing and the scenes and just everything about it works so well, and it's so full of heart. And Julie Andrews is like a goddess and a queen, and she just like shines so much in these movies, and the two of them together is just so marvelous every time. At this point in the month, I feel like I was going through watching comfort movies and revisiting things that I hadn't seen in a while, and I fully loved rewatching this movie for the millionth time. Number 12 is Big Daddy from 1999. Again, a movie that I've seen many times over the years, and one that I enjoy watching over and over again. I'm a massive Adam Sandler fan. I love pretty much anything he does. I will happily sit and give it a go. Big Daddy is a movie that's just like stuck with me, and it's one that I love the soundtrack to, and I love the place that they live in, and like this movie has a lot of like bizarre moments and stuff, but it is just so fun. And it's one that whenever I'm like just sat and I don't know what to watch, I'll go, oh, let's watch another Adam Sandler movie, and it will either be this one, Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison. The other night I wanted to watch Adam Sandler, and Big Daddy became the chosen one again. The final movie that I watched in August was My Big Fat Greek Wedding. This again is a movie I've seen a million times. It's one that I relate to heavily. It's one that means so much to me. I was crying about it the other night because I was just thinking about it. It wasn't even because I'd watch it, and then that like pushed me over the edge. I also watched it like on the eve of my birthday. I like to revisit movies that mean a lot to me around the time of my birthday. It just kind of like brings me into like that nostalgic element of things. And again, this is one that I think is one of the best rom-coms of all time, if not the best one. It is such an amazing thing to see like these characters. There's so much heart in this movie, and I just admire it so much. And I love all the music, and I love all the characters and the quotes, and it's just like stuck with me for years and years and years, and it's just like the definition of special to me. So I needed to rewatch, and I did, and I loved for the millionth time. I say that a lot about movies, but this one is like super special to me. All right, so that's my list of 13 movies that I watched in August. I can't believe August has happened, and I'm excited to watch more movies in September. Thank you for watching my August wrap up. I hope to see you in the next video.